where one Democratic congressman, member of the House, is proposing a similar measure to Dianne Feinstein. He has 140 co-sponsors. Joining us now, Rhode Island Congressman David Cicilline, a Democrat congressman. Thanks so much for being with us. 140 co-sponsors right now. Any Republicans?
No, actually 148 co-sponsors. I'm in active discussion with 5 or 6 of my Republican colleagues who are reviewing the bill. I think there is bipartisan interest. But just to remind your viewers, this is a device that allows you to convert a semi-automatic weapon into essentially function as a machine gun, capable of discharging 400 to 800 bullets a minute. So this is a common sense proposal. I'm hopeful that it will be a bipartisan effort. Right now, it's only Democrats on my bill, but I'm working hard to persuade some of my Republican colleagues to join this effort.
What do you think? I mean, you've got a number of your Republican colleagues on the Senate side. Senator Ron Johnson saying, quote, I have no problem banning those. Paul Ryan just saying, you know, we should look at this. There should be hearings. Do you feel like, Congressman, this could be the moment? I mean, this would not be comprehensive gun legislation, but this would be something. Does it feel different this time to you?
I mean, it obviously doesn't solve the larger issue of the epidemic of gun violence in our country, but it's one very specific thing we can do to address this very challenging ability of people to turn a semi-automatic weapon into basically a machine gun. So I think it would be a great moment to show the country that we can work together in a bipartisan way to address this issue, and maybe it will lead to more work together on not only gun safety but other issues. But I think this is a moment. This was the worst shooting in U.S. history. The magnitude of the devastation, I think, really shook the country, and they expect Congress to do something about it. And at the very least, banning these bump stocks is a first step.
You know, Kellyanne Conway, the president's advisor in Breitbart, others have said, well, these bump stocks were approved or at least allowed to go forward during the Obama administration. So I guess 2 questions here. Was the Obama administration wrong? Did they make a mistake? And number 2, does that have any pertinence to whether or not they should be banned right now?
I think it's irrelevant, but certainly in 2010, ATF made a ruling that made the use of bump stocks legal. I think that was a mistake then. It can be corrected legislatively or obviously by the agency. But I think the important thing is we need to ban bump stocks. They're dangerous. They allow people to basically have the ability to use a machine gun. We've seen the consequences of it in Nevada. And I think the ATF ruling was wrong. I wish it were reversed, but the legislation that I've proposed and introduced with 148 colleagues will accomplish that.
All right, let's get your take on some of these other issues that are certainly in the headlines as well. You sit on the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Your counterpart, Senator Bob Corker, had a stark assessment yesterday of who it is in the administration that protects this country, separates this country from chaos. Listen to him.
I think Secretary Tillerson, Secretary Mattis, and Chief of Staff Kelly are those people that help separate our country from chaos. And I support them very much.
He did not mention the president, and he actually went on later to say there are other people in the administration who do not do that, who do not separate this country from chaos. Do you agree with his sentiment?
Well, I mean, I think there's no question that the 3 individuals that the senator mentioned are people that many of us in the Congress look to maintain some stability in this administration. The president has sadly brought tremendous chaos, not only internationally, but on domestic issues as well. Fortunately, he's surrounded by a few people who I think have the deep respect of the Congress and seem to be helping to maintain some stability. But, you know, this is very challenging when the President of the United States is not the figure that either the country or the world looks to provide the kind of stability and leadership that we need in a very challenging time in our country and in the world. So I think the Senator's observations are fair, and I think it's alarming, frankly, that that's the conclusion that many people have drawn.
So the Secretary of State yesterday, he denied he ever threatened to resign or had to be talked out of resigning. But he didn't deny that he called the President of the United States a moron. And my question to you is, you know, how can he credibly go negotiate with foreign leaders or foreign diplomats? Why would another diplomat take him seriously as a spokesman for an administration when he thinks the leader, or said the leader, if he said the leader was a moron?
No, this is a very serious issue. Look, I'm not so interested in the internal squabbling in the White House and the disagreements that happen in private, but I do think that the importance of the Secretary of State having the full confidence of the President, and that foreign leaders knowing that when the Secretary of State speaks, he speaks for the United States and for the President of the United States. And to the extent that that relationship is divided or challenged, it makes it much more difficult to do the really important diplomatic work around the world. So this is a serious issue, and I'm not sure what the resolution of it is, but we cannot have the Secretary of State not being perceived as really the spokesperson and the representative of our country and of the President in these diplomatic efforts. So this is very, very disturbing and presents some very serious challenges.
Congressman David Cicilline, we appreciate your time. Let us know if you get Republicans to sign on.
I'm working on it, and I'll be sure to let you know.
Yeah, seriously, the minute if you get one, tell us. It's going to be a very significant development.
Absolutely.
Thank you. To the victims next.